Hey guys, this is GCA 61087 here, bringing you the first part of a three-part video tutorial to go along with the MLG article Player Guide Basics of the Rush for StarCraft 2. And in this video I'm going to be going over a very basic and very aggressive Zerg rush known as the 6 pool. So what you're going to see from me here is I'm going to take my first 6 initial workers and start harvesting minerals without training any additional units for a little while. The goal of this is to get 200 minerals as fast as I can to be able to throw down a very quick spawning pool, which will allow me to train Zerglings and get those Zerglings into my enemy's base as fast as I possibly can. At the same time in this video I'll be giving you guys a couple of macro management and micro management tips, as well as some tips on using hotkeys to make this rush even more effective. So you can see my spawning pool going down here right after I got that 200 minerals. In this video I'm going to be using a little bit of StarCraft terminology that you guys may not be familiar with. If you're not, there's a great thread in the StarCraft 2 forums, in the MLG forums, and in that thread you'll find most of the terms that I'll be using in this video. If not, you can go ahead and post questions in there. I'll be checking it periodically, but we've also got a bunch of great community members here that'll be able to answer your questions pretty well too. So you can see my spawning pool is just about finished. As soon as it's finished, I'm going to train up 6 Zerglings with my first 3 larvae. With my next larva after that, I'm going to want to train up another set of Zerglings. And with my next larva, after that 4th set of Zerglings is training, I'm going to want to train an Overlord because I'm going to be at 10 out of 10 supply. So I'm going to want to get that Overlord up so I can increase my food count and continue streaming Zerglings into my opponent's base. So I've got these first 8 Zerglings training up, first 6 just popped. What I'm going to want to do is put those into control group 1, as you can see down here, and I've got my hatchery in control group 2. So what I'm going to be able to do is use these 2 hotkeys. I can bounce back and forth between my Zerglings and my hatchery. I'll be able to hit the number 2 key while I'm watching my Zerglings in my opponent's base, and then hit the S key to select larva and the Z key to morph Zerglings, so I'll be able to still continue my unit production without taking my eyes off my Zerglings. Now right here I'm just going to pause for a second and talk about what I'm going to be doing with my Zerglings here. I'm not going to want to overcommit them into this mineral line, get them all the way into the middle here where they can get surrounded, because Zerglings are relatively fragile units. They've only got 35 hit points, and I'm outnumbered at this point 14 SCVs to only 6 Zerglings, while the 7th and 8th are coming in just a second. But I don't want to let those SCVs which have me outnumbered surround me, so I'm going to attack move into the worker line to get them to start attacking, and then issue a regular move command to get them to back out, and repeat that process. So you'll see my Zerglings bouncing back and forth here in and out of the worker line. So you see I'm going to try and surround these Zerglings as best I can. I want to fight them in the open field. Zerglings are very fast units, so they'll be able to get quick surrounds on these units and take them out one by one. I want to do the same thing with any Marines popping out of that barracks there, which is why I kind of want to attack from this side here as opposed to over here, so I can keep a close eye on this barracks and get the Marines as soon as they spawn. Now right here you're going to see a tactic that the AI is going to pull, which is something that a player that you play online will probably do to try and defend this rush. As soon as that Marine popped out, you see a bunch of SCVs coming out here, and what a player will often try and do is get their Marine behind those SCVs so that the SCVs act as sort of a block for the Marine, which will allow it to do some extra damage before you're able to get your Zerglings in to kill it. You definitely don't want to let that happen. But I was able to get that Marine just in time before it got behind the SCVs. So I'm just going to continue backing up and attack moving back into the SCVs, getting them surrounded, taking them out one by one. At this point, my opponent doesn't have a whole lot to do. They're going to throw their 5 SCVs into that command center. And at this point my opponent is not mining at all. They're not going to be able to train up any additional units to stop my rush or to do any kind of counterattack. So the game is completely in my hands at this point. You see another Marine popping out, getting killed quickly by those 2 Zerglings right there. And you're going to see a surrender here. Yep, just right there. My opponent's going to go ahead and surrender. And my opponent in this video actually was the AI. I know the AI isn't the most formidable opponent, but for the purposes of a basic tutorial like this, I thought I'd go ahead and use the AI just to get the videos out a little faster and show you guys the basics of the rush. Alright, well that is the end of part 1 of this 3-part video tutorial. I'll be back with part 2, which is going to go over a basic Protoss Zealot rush.